This is a Sandy Boy Productions podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to I'll Have Another podcast with Lindsay Hine. I'm your host, Lindsay. Thank you so much for being here today. You'll have to excuse my voice here. I have a little bit of a cold and I'm losing my voice. So I'm going to try to make it through this intro. Today you're listening to episode 225 and I'm talking with Natosha Rogers. Just a couple weeks ago, Natosha won the USATF Cross Country Championships. She is really having a comeback year. She runs for Brooks. And if you don't know Natosha, a little bit about her history. She won the 2012 NCAA title in the 10K and then went on to place second in the Olympic trials in the 10K in 2012. Natosha has a huge comeback story and I am so proud of her right now and so excited to see that everything she's done. She has taken quite a bit of time off from professional running a couple different times in her career due to injury, and just you'll hear all about the crazy story and things that she's been through when we talk in this conversation. But she is back, she's feeling good, and I cannot wait to see what her career. She's currently running for Brooks and chasing down some fast times on the track, and she definitely has a goal to make the 2020 Olympic team. So make sure you follow Natosha and check out what she's got going on as her career takes off once again. She's Natosha, Natosha_Rogers. Before we get started talking with Natosha, I want to thank Lily Trotters for being a supporter of this podcast. If you are looking for a compression sock, this is the sock for you. This is my favorite compression sock. They are cute, they're functional, and they're fat. Have really cute Valentine's Day socks on their website now that they don't have to be used just for Valentine's Day, but they would be really cute to grab. And they also just launched their new crew sock that you can pre-order now. I'm telling you, I've been wearing this crew sock all the time. I am so serious when I tell you I have these compression socks on. Actually, my favorite pair that I own is the Smitten Aqua. I wear those constantly. Today, I'm really excited to offer you all 25% off any full-priced order from Lily Trotters. When you go to lilytrotters.com, use the code ANOTHER, and you can get 25% off any full. That is a good deal. Thank you, Lily Trotters, for continuing to support this podcast. And friends, when you support a sponsor of this podcast, you are directly supporting this show, so I thank you for that. Again, that's lilytrotters.com and use the code ANOTHER for 25% off any full-priced items. All right, friends, let's enjoy my conversation with Natosha Rogers. Well, today on the podcast, I'm excited to welcome Natosha Rogers to the show. Welcome to the podcast, Natosha.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to do another one. I did my first one a few weeks ago, and it's really, really fun. So I'm
cool.
Excited for this.
Wonderful. Whose podcast were you on?
It was actually my sister. She just has a really small one that she just started up last year, and I encouraged her because she just had a baby and she was pregnant for a long time. That a downtime with like the baby and not really working so much. So we're going to do another one where I ask her the questions next time.
What is her podcast called?
It's called Core of Conduct. You can find it on Spotify.
Okay. And what's it about?
I was the first one to go and share my personal story with that. And then we're going to do her next because she used to be an athlete as well. And then we're going to do two others after that.
Okay, cool. So are you a first-time?
Two others after that.
Okay, cool. So are you a first-time new aunt?
I am, yes. I got to see my sister have a baby. I was in the room, and this was actually the week before the cross country championships. And I got to see my sister have a baby. I was in the room, and this was actually the week before the cross country championships. And that was very intense. And I probably won't have a baby for like a few more years down the road. But it was really beautiful and cool. And he's such a cute little boy.
It didn't scar you too much, though.
No, it actually, I was thinking about her and her baby in my race. I was like, if they can do that, then I can tough through this 10K.
That is where I had babies. I actually got to witness my sister have a baby first as well, a couple years before I had my first. And it really was it was just as cool as having my first baby, I think. Just, I'd never experienced being in the room of someone giving birth. And it was just like crazy that your body makes it happen.
Yeah, it definitely was like so amazing. Like it's hard to explain, and most people are like, oh, I wouldn't want to watch that, but it actually is really beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
And kind of gross, but beautiful too.
Sure. Well, you had a big weekend, so this is super exciting. Like, you've come off some really hard years, and you just won the USATF Cross Country Championship. So huge congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. That's awesome to hear people, know a little bit about my story and how hard it really has been just to be back to where I am today. And just having like hope in those harder, darker times, it really does pay off.
Yeah. Tell us how you feel coming off that race.
I felt like obviously really happy, and just kind of on like a runner's high. And then a great race or like winning like a title or something. It all kind of comes crashing down on you, like a little bit overwhelming. Everyone is asking you a bunch of questions, and I really do enjoy that, but it also just kind of, and I really had to refocus myself yesterday and meditate and really try to like zero in on my next race and get focused on moving forward.
What is your next race? Do you know?
Yeah.
What is your next race? Do you know?
Yeah, next weekend, actually.
Wow.
So quick turnaround. I am racing up in Seattle at UW, and I'm going to attempt running under 15:30 for the 5K. To try to get a qualifier for the 3K at nationals.
Oh, okay. What's your 5K PR?
15:08 outdoors. But that was back in 2017 when I was like super hot. Like I'm not exactly sure what I can pull off next weekend, but I'm not taking it too seriously because I'm not an indoor runner. I'm focused on outdoors, the 10K and the 5.
I listened to your post-race interview from your race you did in fourth, and you kind of said, well, I always try to win. So I thought that was really cool, even though you didn't win, but you're always out there. Like, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to try to win. So in a race like the race you're going to in Seattle, will that still be your mentality, or will you be laser focused on breaking 15:30?
Yeah.
Always out there. Like, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to try to win. So in a race like the race you're going to in Seattle, will that still be your mentality, or will you be laser focused on breaking 15:30?
Yeah. So I do have to like put myself in check sometimes because like if I'm always like, so I do have to like put myself in check sometimes because like if I'm always like being that rookie who like takes the lead, like obviously I've had races where that bites me in the butt. But I think a lot of the really I don't know if a lot of really fast runners are going to be in Boston for an indoor race. So I might have to like pace myself through that. And I think that will be the challenge, is just trying to hit those paces that I'm not used to yet. But some person in there that can really help me. I should probably look into that.
So do you feel like the race on Saturday, the cross country race that you just won, did that give you like a boost of confidence? Like, okay, I'm back. I can make my way back to confidence. Like, okay, I'm back. I can make my way back to where I was and way beyond, because I had just imagined getting back into something has to be kind of challenging.
Yeah, definitely. I actually struggled with that challenge the first time I quit running, which was after the 2012 Olympic trials. I quit running. That was my last race after getting silver and not making the Olympic team, and took some time away to process everything. And when I signed pro after that, that's when I really struggled with getting back into it. And I think a part of that is holding on to the past and what worked in the past and not making the changes. It's been a little bit easier, and it's really coming back a lot quicker. I'm pretty surprised by that, actually.
Yeah, it has to feel good.
Yeah, I think my mind is just a lot stronger, too, having gone through some of the crazy things I've been through lately.
Yeah, you've been through a lot in the past few years. Let's go back.
God.
Oh, boy. Well, let's just talk about kind of the timeline of your running career a little bit. So you won the 2012 NCAA title in the 10K, which 10,000 meters, which like that was only your third 10K. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you're in college. This qualifies you for the Olympic trials. So let's start there.
Yeah, so I basically kind of begged my coach to let me run the 10K at the end of the season there, because I just knew I knew that in there because I just knew I knew that there was going to be something special that year with the longer distance. And that's why that was only my third 10K I've ever run. And that's also why I was not fortunate enough to, and that's kind of what screwed me out of not making the Olympics that year.
Yeah. Let's explain that to everybody. So Natosha places second in the Olympic trials in the 10K. Sandwiched between none other than Amy Hastings and Shalane Flanagan, by the way. Did that feel so?
I believe I'm staying with them. Like, what the heck is going on? But that's what's cool, is just how your own body can, like, surprise yourself.
Yeah, when you're in a situation like that, I mean, because you're still in college at that point, you're in a situation like that, or you just have to tell yourself you belong. You're in a situation like that, I mean, because you're still in college at that point, you're in a situation like that, or you just have to tell yourself you belong, right?
Exactly. It's a mindset. And I really started that mindset like 6 months before that race, not really knowing that I would make
belong, right?
Exactly. It's a mindset. And I really started that mindset like 6 months before that race, not really knowing that I would make the Olympic trials, but just knowing that I could be one of the fastest girls in the country.
It's true. So in the Olympics, because she didn't have that standard. So that's kind of how that played out. Let's go from there.
Yeah, so that was kind of just really, like what you said, surreal. There were also some tactics in the race that played out. And the girls who already had the A standard worked as a team to slow down the pace to make sure that they would make the team. Which that's why I was tripped and trampled by the pack, because when Shalane made a move to the front, and significantly slowed down, moved to the front and significantly slowed down the pace. It caused a lot of panic in the pack, and then I was blatantly tripped and trampled. And so I tripped in the race, got back up, and still placed second, but was not good enough to make the team. And I don't think I wasn't taken to like a chaser meet either after the trials, and it was just like very confusing to me. Like I felt like to a chaser meet after the Olympic trials and get the time.
Okay, so does that mean you get the opportunity to go exactly how it sounds, to go chase the time?
Yes, you get one more chance to get the time, and then you get to go.
Okay, so if you place in the top 3.
Correct, yes.
What was the standard?
I was 12 seconds off, so and that's not a lot in the 10K. That's pretty doable. especially considering how much you PR'd. Like, that was a big PR, right? Huge, yeah. And also considering just like to like get back up and catch back to the pack and all of those things, considered, no one's fault. Like it just how it played out, and it was unlucky for me because I could have been an Olympian that year. And so have always just had this not bitter, but just like I want it. So I want to become an Olympian. And that's kind of what I talked about in my other podcast, the identity crisis, is that identity kind of followed me, and people just, have always held me to that high expectation since then.
How do you come back from that?
I think it just really took me going through some of the really hard stuff that I've been through in the last 8-10 years, where I'll get injured, lose my ability to run, and then have to basically re-identify myself for my own health. Like, I can't just hold on to be more than that. And so I think being able to kind of find more to myself and let things take their natural flow and process, I think that's why I'm back here today in a healthy place and ready to tackle such a big endeavor again.
Yeah, because for those that might not know, you really walked away for a little while.
Yeah, I quit for about a year or over a year after 2012. And
you really walked away for a little while.
Yeah, I quit for about a year or over a year after 2012 and traveled, studied abroad, and I finally gave my agent a call back, and I was like, all right, let's do this. And that was my first job out of college, was signing with New Balance, moving to the East Coast. And then starting as a pro was like its own challenge. It was pro level.
Yeah, I imagine that's a really tough transition for a lot of people.
Yeah, especially when you're uprooting your life for it, and it's the way you make money, and it's a very obscure and weird job that kind of isolates you in the world.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a brutal industry, and it's kind of like survival of the fittest.
Literally.
Yeah.
During your time with New Balance, what did you enjoy most about that experience?
I think that I just learned so much. When you're representing a huge $1 million company, like it's a certain responsibility comes with that, and a certain representing yourself and your own personal brand too. So I think just I had a few growing pains in that area. And I think I learned a lot from that, and kind of how to work the system, and at the same time, at the end in the system, like, oh, I have to do this, or else I'm going to lose sponsorship. But it's like, if you're not running well doing that, you need to make the changes.
Yeah.
You know?
And when you say that, are you referring to like you ran with a team for a while and then you went and trained on your own? Were those kinds of decisions factored into what you're talking about?
Totally. Yeah. I had to move out of Boston. I do love Boston. I have nothing bad to say about it at all. But for me, at that point in my life, it was really important to just get in a healthy state of mind. And sometimes the only way to do that is to go home and like be where you came from and what works for you. And all of my friends and family are in Colorado, and life like that works for some people, but it just, things have to be on my own terms. Like for me, that's just what works for me.
Yeah, and I think that's important to acknowledge, because I think people could assume, well, this is just the way it has to be, and that's just not the case.
No, like you can just start like doing real, and that's what I did. I moved back home and I started winning road races, and with that came, you know, my salary, and I was doing really well and racing a lot. I think I raced a total of 17 times in 2017, or 16 or 17 times. Which, yeah, I was starting to spin off and lose control there. So I also learned a valuable lesson out of that mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about going from, now we're talking over a 4-year span. So a lot happens. You take a year off, you go back, you sign with New Balance, and then you run in the 2016 trials. And tell us about that experience, because you placed second in 2012, and then you're 19th in 2016?
I don't even remember, because I don't really think about that race very often. Just because I clearly wasn't competitive at that point quite yet. Like at least with the big names like Molly Huddle and Emily Sisson, and the girls who always make the teams. But yeah, I just wasn't quite in the place yet. It wasn't until 2017 when I really started making a name for myself again.
Yeah, because you made a name for yourself in 2012, for sure.
Yeah, and then many years later, it came back around.
Yeah, it's such a long process.
Exactly, yeah, and that's what a lot of people don't see about Olympians or Olympic hopefuls, is they only see but there's just so much, heartbreak and trial leading up to that, and you really have one chance, and then you have to wait a whole nother 4 years. So it can be kind of like an Olympic nightmare sometimes, but there's just such special energy.
Year in 2017, you won the 2017 USATF Half Marathon Championships, which is incredible because you were up against the names of Alphine Tuliamac, Steph Bruce. Like that's a big accomplishment. So you kind of probably felt like you were gaining some headway at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think I did that, and then 2 weeks after that, I ran the leading 5K time in the country. at 15:08. So things were really starting to pick up for me, and it was because of this shift in mindset. Because earlier that same year, I got last place at Millrose on television, and sometimes I kind of love those races, even though it's so humiliating. But that race really just get last place. Like, I need to make some changes in my life, and I need to train harder and more focused and eliminate friends, and like, not all friends, but like certain lifestyle changes that needed to be made. And that's what I did.
Lifestyle changes.
So I am not your typical runner. I like to live a very balanced life. And actually, that's kind of changing this year. I'm getting kind of like my 2012 self, where I was super focused, which I think which I think is necessary. But in the middle of my pro running career, like my mid-20s, 25, 26, I was still all about like acting my age and like, you know, going out, or like the life of the party, going to concerts. And I don't regret that at all. Like, I've lived a very full and awesome life. But that's kind of something that I've really dialed in on, like, after signing with Brooks this year. And I'm not going to let 2020 go by without knowing I did every possible thing to like go to bed at night and just know that, you know.
I can imagine that would be really hard as someone, you know, young and single too. Just like, I'm this professional athlete. It's not the same thing as being a professional by day, you know, 8 to 5 person who goes to work every day. Like, your body is your job.
Yep. Yeah. And especially now that I'm getting older, I'm like feeling it. I'm 28. I'm approaching 29, and in the running world, I'm approaching 29, and in the running world, that's like, you're not recovering as quickly. You're not. Yeah. You just feel old and things hurt. And so I cannot even do that lifestyle anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a healthy perspective. People talk about that a lot.
No, yeah.
Like, you want a social life outside of running when you're in your mid-20s. I mean, anytime, but that's a true thing. Yeah,
and it's a sacrifice that you got to make.
All right, everybody, I'm going to jump in real quick, and I'd like you to join me and come run the One America 500 Festival Mini Marathon. This is a race here in Indianapolis that I do every single year, and it was my very first half marathon that I completed in 2005. So I have a lot of friends coming back in town again for this race. Jay Barron, Kimberly Clark, Charlie Watson, and Sarah Canny. They're all coming into town for the race, and we would love to meet you. If you've never run this race, let me tell you, it runs on the iconic Indianapolis 500 Motor Speedway track. And I like to say it is so Indiana because of the 500 track that you get to run on. And also along the course is just fun, and it's not like anything you see at any other races. I am telling you, it is a really good time. So you all can go to indymini.com/register and use the code ANOTHER5, and that's the number 5, so another 5 on your registration. This is a weekend in Indianapolis that you do not want to miss. All right, and the other thing I want to let you know, I have training plans on my website that I have created with my husband, Glenn. We have 4 different half marathon training plan options and 3 different full marathon training plan options. The half marathon weeks and the marathon plans are 18 weeks. And you can find those over at lindsayhine.com when you go to the shop tab. All right. I know you guys are loving my voice right now. We'll let you get back to the conversation with Natosha Rogers. All right. And if you are going to be in Jacksonville tomorrow we are having a meetup at 11 a.m. at Southern Grounds Coffee in Neptune Beach, and we would love to see you there. Super casual, just going to meet for coffee and hang out and get to know some of the listeners. So That is at 11 in Neptune Beach on Saturday. That's tomorrow, February 8th. All right, let's continue my conversation with Natosha Rogers. You lost your New Balance sponsorship in 2008. Talk about why that happened and kind of what you were facing at that point in your career.
So I had gotten injured my knee at the beginning of 2018. My knee at the beginning of 2018. I got really sick. Like, I was out for 10 days, couldn't run. And this was right before the World Half Marathon Championship that I was going to be running. And then after that sickness, having taken 10 days off, I kind of got in that typical runner's panic mode where I have to work really hard now to catch back up and get ready. And then my knee blew out. Nothing, just people were thinking it was a tracking problem, like the knee wasn't tracking on the groove, which is painful, very painful. And I had to withdraw from the World Half Marathon Championships, which was very sad to me. It was taking way too long. And that's another thing about being a runner is we are really bad at being injured because we don't know what we are without running, especially when it's how we make our money. It's really stressful, and there's nothing you can do about your body not healing or not healing fast enough. So I was pretty depressed. I'm just going to be honest. 2018, but I started to be able to run again over that summer. I was running an hour a day, and like a lot of pro runners, I was like, okay, I'm going to get some PRP injections because that typically is very helpful to a lot of people.
What is that?
So it's platelet-rich plasma, PRP injections. They basically take your own blood, spin it, get the platelets, and then re-inject it into the injured site. Okay. And it's typically a very easy, not a big deal procedure, and you're better within 10 to 12 days. But unfortunately for me, that was not the case. I didn't have a lot of guidance. I felt like no one was even talking to me that year because I wasn't racing, and I really just didn't have a lot of guidance in choosing someone to do this for me. I just kind of Googled it, picked someone, and it was done to me was not in the standard typical way. And there was also prolotherapy injected before the PRP, and then scraping with the needle around both kneecaps. And then I really had a hard time walking for about 4 months after that.
4 months.
Yeah, it was very scary. I could not do stairs. I could hardly get up from a sitting position. I was really, really in a dark place during that time.
What is the typical recovery from something like that?
If you get it done the standard way, 10 to 12 days.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. So who do you seek advice from during this time? Like, you're depressed, your knees are balloons, and you're a professional runner. Like, who do you go to be like, what do I do?
I really felt like I was alone in this. Really no help for me at the time. Like, it just didn't seem like there was, and I was already just so down and hopeless, that it really didn't matter because of the pain I was feeling. I remember just laying in bed really dehydrates your cells and kills them. Like it's a huge irritant, and that's probably why it took so long to like finally be able to regain like mobility and functionality in my knees.
Because of the stuff they put in before?
Yeah.
Gosh, wow. And if you had gone to what you think, I guess, is a more well-informed sports doctor that would have done it, you don't think you would have been in this situation?
Not at all. No, I've
a situation.
Not at all. No, I've seeked out other opinions after the fact. When I was finally able to, put some more energy into it, because for a while there, I couldn't even think about going into a doctor. Yeah, so typically it would have never been performed that way on like a runner like myself at the elite level. It's definitely something that can make you lose sponsorship.
Yeah, I was going to say, at the time, did you feel like what to remedy this, and what then happened with your relationship with New Balance?
Honestly, I didn't hear from them. It was just kind of me and my agent. We were like, he's like, "Can you run?" And I'm like, "I don't know if I can ever run again." So, obviously it was just kind of me and my agent. We were like, he's like, "Can you run?" And I'm like, "I don't know if I can ever run again." So, obviously a company doesn't want to hear that. And, no hard feelings there. I get how the business works. But so, obviously a company doesn't want to hear that. And, no hard feelings there. I get how the business works. But I really do wish that I had the right people and the right guidance, because that was a very big mistake, that who you're trusting with your health and your body, and to not act out desperately.
Yeah.
And just to have faith in your body's own healing ability.
Yeah. So when your agent, do you have the same agent now?
I do.
That's Molly Huddle's agent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So had you signed, what was it with New Balance? You had signed a contract through the year. So once the year was up, Was that kind of the deal?
Yeah. And usually I had been with them for 2 rounds of contracts. So usually they would 2 rounds of contracts. So usually they would renegotiate and re-sign me. But
okay.
There was just nothing at the end of that road for me. And I really had to embrace the fact that I had to move on, and I had to make money after all those medical bills.
Yeah.
I don't get health insurance, so it was okay, moving on now. I did go to Thailand. I let myself have that.
You did good.
Yeah, because that was always, I knew that once I got a job in the real world, I would not be able to do it. So I went there for a month.
Wow. Who'd you go with?
I went by myself.
What?
Yeah, I wanted to do it by myself. It was the most freeing, mind blowing, eye-opening experience.
I don't know. I feel like this sounds negative, but I don't mean it in a negative way about myself. I'm not a very independent person, as far as things like that. And I can never imagine just being like, I'm going to go to Thailand by myself for an entire month.
Yeah. My whole family was like,
I mean, because you're in this kind of depressive state, though. So how did you dig yourself out of that to feel okay enough to take that trip?
Honestly, Thailand is what pulled me out of the depression, because I'm a traveler. I'm not meant to just be a homebody ever. So, and I had studied abroad in Argentina for 6 months before, and it was something that I knew that I could do. And also this is not a good thing about me. I'm overly confident in my ability to like escape any crazy situation. Which, yeah, my dad doesn't like that. He's like, you need to be like paranoid because, but it was super safe, and there were people from all over the world, like just doing the same exact thing. And, I did it the safe way too. So
you Eat, Pray, loved it.
I did. Yes. I used to love that movie. And there's something crazy about the energy there. Like, it really did heal me. And it also, my knees felt so better after getting back from that trip. So much that about a month later, I was able to do my first run again.
Okay. So how long did you literally not run at all for?
So probably since the beginning, since when I first injured my knee. Well, actually, I was running again in the summer. So probably since the beginning, since when I first injured my knee. Well, actually, I was running again in the summer. So after the procedure, though, it was probably, 5 months.
Wow. I did not know you went to Thailand. I'm so happy that you shared that. That's really cool and motivating, and it sounds like it was just a really peaceful and uplifting experience.
It was, yeah. I really recommend going to Southeast Asia. It's just so different than here.
Well, by herself. So.
That's funny.
Oh, I know. I'm a mess. I'm a mess in my own ways. Okay, so that kind of dug you out of your depressive state. Was there anything else in that time of your life? Like, did you ever feel to the point where you were like, I need help? Like, did you go to therapy?
I considered it. Yeah, there were definitely some super, super low points where I considered it. People were telling me to do it. And I think I went to one therapy session, and I just wasn't exactly buying into it, which that's not to say that I wouldn't use that in the future, because I think you just have to be in the right mental state for that, but I just wasn't. I just have to admit, I was a difficult person at that time. I just kind of had to get through it on my own.
You know, that's always the tough thing about therapy, I imagine, is that you're probably, the likeliness of you finding the exact right therapist for you the very first try is probably not crazy high. I don't know what the statistics are, but when you feel discouraging to go talk to someone and that not be the right person, and then to have the courage to pick up the phone and find somebody else.
And pay for it when you're like broke.
Exactly. It's not cheap.
No. It's not. It's like, did I just pay you $70 to do nothing for me?
Well, and that's a barrier to say, go see a therapist, but you're exactly right. It's not cheap. It's not free.
Yeah, it would have just kind of added to my stress, because I just didn't have like $70 to throw around.
Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough. Needs to get paid for their job, but it's a big factor for sure. So let's get into most recently signing with the Hansons Brooks project. That's really exciting. Hansons Distance project, I guess I should say.
Yes, they are amazing. I don't know how I got so lucky. It was completely unexpected. So I was working a corporate job. I was doing tech sales. Sales is very difficult. Lots of cold calls.
Oh gosh.
100 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who did you work for?
Conga.
Okay. And what were you selling?
I was selling artificial intelligence and tech solutions, which is not up my alley at all.
Oh, boy.
I have something on my resume
There you
that's not
go.
just I can run fast. But yeah, it was really hard to get that job because that's another thing that's not really talked about. Runners who've been in this professionally for a long time, if we lose sponsorship, we don't get to just go join the workforce. Like, it was really hard to be taken seriously as a 27-year-old with no work experience except for running. So I was really lucky to get that job, even though it was super hard. And my agent, he never lets me walk away with no work experience except for running. So I was really lucky to get that job, even though it was super hard. And my agent, he never lets me walk away. He's like a grandfather to me. He just kept calling me saying, "How are you feeling?" He's like a grandfather to me. He just kept calling me saying, "How are you feeling?" And I didn't really think anybody would want to sign me, just knowing how the industry works. But and none of them really did. And that Hanson guy, yeah. And he's like, "Well, they want you to come take a little trip to Michigan and meet the team." And so I got a ticket like that weekend without telling my work. And once I met Kevin and the team and Keith, really different than most training groups in like the best ways possible. And I just really needed someone who knew how I operated. And Kevin basically lets me be independent, but keeps me in line, and we communicate well. And he really, really believes in me, which is so important in a coach-athlete relationship.
Yeah, I'm interested in your relationship with Ray during the time that you're working professionally in sales, because at that point, if you're not like seeking out and pursuing running opportunities, was he just randomly checking in, like you said? And what does that relationship look like? It's like, did you call him your old agent and then you guys just kind of got back into it, or what?
Yeah, I don't think he's been in this world for so long, my relentless soul, like that I can't really hang up the shoes. And he's always been that agent that, puts in the most effort to get me going in the right direction. Because when I first quit after 2012, I had a lot of agents. I was like every day for like months, and I wouldn't call them back, and I wouldn't call Ray back. And I don't know why, but for some reason when I was ready to come back, I just kind of let my intuition pick, and I was like, I'm going to go with Ray. And then since then, he's just kind of been very caring towards me, and just wanting me to, make my dreams come true.
So he was one of a bunch of agents in that were calling.
Back in 2013, yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's kind of a cool full circle story then.
Yeah. It's like those people that just stick around in your life,
Yeah. You've had a big year now, but you didn't really compete until really the fall much, right? So do you feel of your career?
Yeah, because I actually didn't get to quit my tech sales job where I was working 7 to 7.
Oh my gosh, 7 to 7.
It was bad. I didn't get to quit that until like the second week of July. And so I wasn't even really training seriously until August. And I was still working through some pain in my knees when I started racing in the fall. And it was a little bit, like some bumps in the road, some discouragement, but I'm really proud of myself for getting over that and getting through it. And it does feel like a new season in 2020. It's like, okay, I'm like kind of back to myself now.
Yeah.
Or maybe a better version of myself.
Yeah. Well, how do your knees feel today?
So I just had like
How do your knees feel today?
a great workout today right before this, and I was thinking about how they feel so good right now. Like I'm not really dealing with like the old pains that I used to, like where I would have to just get right into the tub after runs and just put hot water and just like make the pain go away. I'm not really dealing with that as much anymore at all.
Do you think that's just time?
Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's what your brain associates with certain parts of your body, because if you've been through something really traumatic, your brain kind of develops this like PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's that, which takes time. And really I was still just working through a lot of like lack of mobility and scar tissue from that procedure.
Right, I'm sure. Okay, what was the workout you did today?
So today, I had a training partner. It was our first time working out. I usually have to, but this guy that he just moved to Denver and he graduated like, I think a couple years ago, from Virginia Tech. He ran there, and he paced me in a 5:17 and then another mile at 5:14, and then 3 more 400s at 69, 69, 67 at altitude.
Ooh, okay.
So getting that speed.
Yeah, you are. Write that workout down, guys. There's a good workout for everybody to incorporate part. But the actual repetition.
Yeah, it seems a lot harder on paper, but the 400s really break it up and it goes by really quickly. So it's a good one for sure.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of it because mile repeats, you get to like the fifth repeat or the fourth. Yeah, it's kind of nice to break that up with some speedier, shorter stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Okay, so you have a race next weekend in Seattle. Then what are the next big goals in 2020 and beyond for you in running?
Yeah. So after indoors, I'm not really taking indoors very seriously. Just trying to turn the legs over, get some speed so that I can bring that to the track outdoors. But I'm running the 15K champs March, I believe it's March 15th. And I'm going to try to win that.
Yes.
So that I can keep accumulating points to hopefully win the circuit at the end of the year. So I think, and I was just short of making second, so I think I can be competitive in that, especially in an Olympic year when runners are more focused on like bigger races.
So will you have a focus on making an Olympic team at all?
Absolutely. I forgot to mention that.
Okay. Well, I was assuming that, but I was like, should I have not have assumed that?
No. That's definitely something I should mention first, because that's why I came back to the sport, is this Olympic dream.
Yeah, for sure.
Dream.
Yeah, for sure. In the 10K, I assume.
I think so. The 10K is first at the trials. I usually double at the trials because, like, I don't make the team, then I have to run the 5. But I don't make the team, then I have to run the 5. But at that point, your legs are so tired from running the 10. So I think what it's going to come down to is which qualifying time is better for me, whether that's beating my PR of 15:08 in the 5, which I think I can do this year, if my time is super solid, we might have to have a talk, me and my coach, about maybe focusing on the 5, but we'll just have to see how I perform in these qualifier meets.
Yeah. What do you prefer to race?
Lately, the 5K.
Yeah.
Because the 10K, just the tactics that play out in the 10K at a championship race are brutal. Like, you're going to have, your Molly huddle, and she's going to make it really fast, and you just have to keep going in circles. It's hard, and the 5K is a little different at a championship race. Like, lots of times it'll go out slow, and then it's a mile race at the end. So it can be kind of fun, the 5K, whereas the 10K is just this long, grueling, hard process. But supposedly I'm better at that in like coach's eyes. So
the 10K.
We'll see.
Yeah. I guess if she doesn't make the
marathon.
Olympic team in the marathon, she probably will go after the 10K.
Yeah, and she might just run it just to like place too.
Yeah. And
or like help her teammate, or not her teammate, but Emily. But yeah, I don't know. You never know really until like the week before, and it's just like,
who's going to show up? Is
Yeah.
that what they do? Do they give you the list the week before?
It's like, yeah, I usually find out like maybe 2 weeks before, but people make last minute decisions.
So you're still up in the air. You're going to see how everything plays out.
Yeah.
So you're still up in the air. You're going to see how everything plays out.
Yeah.
Which one you're going to do?
Yeah. I will probably sign up to do both.
Yeah.
And then make a last minute decision and possibly run both.
Well, cool. Well, we're super excited to see, you having the success that you're having. And I'm sure hopefully you are letting yourself kind of enjoy that win. That's a big deal.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for saying that. Because it's hard to take a moment after the race because everyone's like yanking you around, and like, it's hard to just take that 1 second and be like,
schedule a special dinner with some friends and really celebrate.
I will. Thank
Make
you.
it happen. So are you going to be training in Colorado and just kind of traveling around with the Hansons team at races and camps, or will you go to Michigan at all?
Yeah, so I'm based out of Denver here, but I went there this past summer when I signed, and then I'm going to Florida with them the first half of March to train in some warmer weather. And then I'll probably go to Michigan again once the weather gets better.
Well, very cool. Well,
Yes, I am prepared.
You ready to go? Okay. What is something professionally or personally that you'd like to do that you haven't done yet?
Definitely make an Olympic team this year and go to Tokyo. Tokyo's on my bucket list, so that's like the perfect place for my Olympic dream.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and you're a world traveler, so for sure.
Yeah.
What is an accomplishment you are most proud of?
Probably this last national title this past weekend at the Cross Country Championships, because of what I went through leading up to this, like the rough couple of years that I had, and what it took to get back here doing what I love and exceeding my limitations.
Wow, that's awesome. What's a book you'd like to recommend?
So right now I'm reading a really awesome book for just the elite mentality. And it's called Elite Minds.
Okay.
A friend gave it to me, and I really, really recommend it. I was reading it the morning of my race that I won, and it just really put me in the right headspace.
What's a nonprofit you like to support?
So I used to, like in the beginning of my pro career, I did side work for United Cerebral Palsy of Metro Boston. That was back when I lived in Boston, but I really enjoyed volunteering my time there. My mom has always kind of really showed us how to be loving and giving to all different kinds of people. So that was a really good experience working there.
That's awesome. Who is someone fun, motivating, or inspiring you'd like to have coffee, tea, or a cocktail with?
This answer is really weird, and people think I'm weird, but Nikola Tesla, I'm like secretly obsessed with him.
Really?
Well, actually, I think they just use I'm not sure about the car thing because I think they just use his like invention. Okay, but I should probably know that answer.
Yeah, you need to be prepped in case the opportunity arises to have coffee, tea, or cocktail.
Yes, when he raises from the dead. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
But he I'm kind of really into like quantum physics, not like in a way that I'm a scientist at all, but that stuff just fascinates me. And Nikola Tesla also had OCD, which I think I've struggled with OCD throughout my life. And so I think it's cool that he was so successful dealing with that.
So has he been dead for a really long time?
I think so. I'm not sure like when exactly he died, but yeah, I think he was like a few generations ago.
Like, was he born in the 1700s?
Yeah, like he was around the same time as Edison.
Thomas Edison. Okay.
Yeah, so like old people, like really dead.
Really dead. I need a quick history lesson.
More about this person that I'm obsessed with.
That you want to have coffee with. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I'll get made fun of for that one for sure. It's all good though. There was a famous tennis player, not Roger Federer, that I didn't know who he was at one point, and I got made fun of for that one.
I don't know that.
You know, I can't know everybody, guys. Okay, and it's all in good fun. What is your one message to send to the world?
I would say either believe in the impossible or focus on the good, not the bad.
Ooh, I like them. Short and sweet and both really good.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. All right, well, best of luck in Seattle, and thank you so much for taking your time to talk to me today.
This was really fun. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for the opportunity.
Thanks, Natasha. Have a great rest of your day.
All right.
Bye. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. Thank you, and excited for you. Don't forget to follow Natasha on Instagram. She's Natasha with an O_Rogers. You can find me on Instagram. I'm Lindsay Hine 626. You can find me on Twitter at Lindsay Hine, and you can find me on Facebook. I'll have another podcast with Lindsay Hine where we have a group as well. Make sure you look into the One America 500 Festival Mini Marathon. I am so excited to be back running it this year with all my friends. You can save $5 off your registration when you go to indymini.com/register. You can also save 25% off any full price items at Lily Trotters, my favorite compression sock, when you go to lilytrotters.com and use the code ANOTHER. All right, friends, thanks so much for being here. I hope you're having a great Friday. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And as always, I will see you next Friday.